Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Slash My Butthole. And if you love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's dive in to today's first story, which of course comes with an update. From Throwaway Dinner Strike, who says, am I the arsehole for no longer bringing dinner for my wife after she claimed I never cook? I work at a nice restaurant as a cook, and every day when I get off from work I always cook dinner for my wife and our 2 kids, 8 male and 6 female, at the restaurant before coming home. The only time I don't cook for them are on weekends when I'm off, and that's when my wife does the cooking. We usually trade off on who makes breakfast and lunch for the kids every other day, but for the week I'm always the one bringing home dinner. Weekends we sometimes get together with friends and they come over to the house. My wife usually cooks and I help set the table and clean afterwards. One of her friends, Stacy, asked how come I never do any of the cooking, and is it always on my wife all the time making meals for the kids, especially when I'm a cook myself. Instead of correcting her, she sort of laughed and went along with it, making jokes about, you know how it is. And Stacy laughed because her ex-husband was the same way, and then sort of ripped on me in a joking way, how I better buck up before I become an ex too. My wife just said, well, let's see if he actually listens and starts cooking for once, joking about all the time I spend in the kitchen at work but won't do the same at home. It really pissed me off. I'm not the husband that just doesn't do anything after I'm home from work. I cook food for her and the kids at work, and on top of that I make separate dishes for each of them. What she wants and what the kids want. All that after standing on my feet all day. We talked about it once they left, and because I don't appreciate being told I'm not doing something she knows for a fact I do. She didn't want to apologize for it because it was all just to be a funny joke. Even after telling her about how it hurt my feelings being put down like that, my wife said she felt like she has to go along with the joke so there wouldn't be any awkward vibes, whatever that means. But I said fine, if she can't apologize for something that was mean just so she could laugh along with her friend, then I won't keep doing something she already claims I don't do. For the past week I've only brought home dinner for our kids and she has to make her own food. She's mad that I'm refusing to feed her over what happened instead of letting it go. But I can't help but feel mad about being made fun of like that when I'm busting my ass to provide for my family and still making sure they have food on the table every evening. She just thinks I'm an asshole for how I'm reacting when she's already tired at the end of the day, but still having to make food for herself. Am I the asshole? Now, I didn't understand what it meant about the awkward vibes either, correcting someone that's saying, your husband isn't cooking when he clearly is doing a lot of the cooking. Wouldn't be an awkward thing to do. It would be a nice thing to do for your husband to say, like, you appreciate what he does. But instead, this Stacy's gone away now with a bad sort of impression of your husband, like almost like her ex was. And to me, it didn't even sound like the husband came down hard on her afterwards, just wanted a discussion about what it means. And I think the wife could have easily cleared this up by just saying, I'm really sorry I did that and I won't do it again. I'm sorry I hurt your feelings. It wasn't the right thing to do. And that sounded like it would have almost been the end of it. But she didn't apologize. She doubled down and is now getting mad that you won't feed her. I mean, come on. And is calling you the asshole in this situation. Get her to read the comments below, my friend. But before we go to that update, the Loco6913 says, not the arsehole. Your wife missed a great opportunity to boast on you, all for acceptance by others who have nothing invested in your relationship. Opie replies saying, not even to boast. It would have felt nice though, but at least say something, hey, you were wrong, not just go along with it. The bear will be fine, says not the arsehole. Your spouse is supposed to be your partner in everything in life. The person who always had your back like you always have theirs. She threw you directly under the bus for the sake of not creating waves with her friend. Then when you told her you didn't find her comments at all funny and quite hurtful, that she let someone else believe you were a deadbeat, she blew you off. So she can make her own dinner until she sincerely apologizes and acknowledges that your contribution to the family of cooking dinner during the week is important. The last lion turtle says not the arsehole. It's been a week and she still refuses to apologize. Still cooking for the kids was a good idea, and Opie replied saying, no, yeah, I won't let my kids starve. They don't have anything to do with this. Get Good Dandy says not the arsehole and quotes, my wife said she felt like she has to go along with the joke so there wouldn't be any awkward vibes. whatever that means, and then says your wife would rather hurt your feelings than cause awkward vibes with her friend. Ouch, ouch. Your response could have been construed as petty, potentially, but she made her own bed and now she can lie on it. Not the arsehole, OP. MyO'Bright2344 says not the arsehole. Why is it that so many people say mean things or agree with mean things and then say it was just a joke and that's supposed to make it okay? And one more from Status Stranger 1570 who says not the arsehole. It's not amusing to make fun of your partner in any situation. Whether she was joking or not, I understand why you'd feel unappreciated. Now, let's move on to the update to find out what happened next. So the update came about a month later and it started with, at first wasn't going to post another update, but since things have gotten better, why not? I didn't show my wife this post like some suggested until a few days later, but before that she wanted to talk before bed. And she apologized for how she's been behaving with me. When she made those jokes and let her friends say those things about me, then how she was acting afterwards. In reality, she knew she did wrong, but when I called her out it made her defensive and she realizes how she was acting like a child after knowing how much I do for our family. That's when I showed her the post and opened up about something that was mentioned by me in my comments. How it really hit a nerve for me, making it seem like I'm a lousy father and husband, when my dad was exactly that. He abandoned me and my mum. She knows how important it is for me to be as involved as possible when our kids were born because I never wanted to be like him. So her making it seem like that's how I am brought up some feelings. Telling her this really made her feel like she fucked up big time. She wouldn't stop apologizing. She promised that she'd never put me down that way. And honestly, I think she's shown that she meant her apology. For a week she wanted to be the one making dinner for everyone, so I'd have some time to relax after work. It was nice, but also missed making meals for my family. Cooking for my kids is my own way of expressing my love for them, so we're back to that as well. I feel like my wife has more than shown how sorry she is and appreciates what I also do for this family. Last time we had lunch with her friend a few days ago on my day off and she even brought it up. As mad as I was when it happened, it's nice to see she's made an effort to make amends. The support I got from here was very sweet. Appreciate feeling heard when it felt like my wife wasn't at the time. And it's nice that, she took it upon herself to come and apologize to you without you having to bring it up beforehand, and I'm glad she set the record straight with Stacey as well. It sounds like, she really did look at how much she did fuck up, and, we all do make mistakes, but correcting them is always important, and I'm so glad, it didn't put a massive dent in your relationship and things are flowing back to normal. That's a lovely thing to hear. Little wee bit of a chat, little bit of a heart-to-heart, and we're back on track. Lovely to hear. Good stuff, OP. Thank you so much. And now what do you guys make of this one? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and we'll move on to another story. Now our next story comes from Scared Outside 4725 who says, am I the arsehole for kicking my sister out of my house at night because she threw all of my food away? I seriously can't believe this is a thing, but my parents are really upset at me. My sister and I grew up together but aren't very close. It really wasn't from any drama. We didn't have a big fight to cause distance, but rather just have opposite personalities and interests. If I had to describe my attitude towards my sister, it would be apathetic love. Like, she's my sister, so I want her to be healthy and happy, but we just unfortunately don't hang out, call to chat, etc. She recently received an opportunity to interview for a job near our hometown and reached out to see if she could stay with me for a week. My mother was ecstatic that my sister might be coming home finally. She moved across the country right after college and hasn't been back in almost 10 years, except for Christmas. She spends Thanksgiving with her in-laws, or the one-off birthday/business trip or vacation. I was more than happy to open up my home, thinking that we could maybe bond or deepen our relationship. It was kind of awkward but nothing horrible until the third night. I came home from drinks with my friends around 10 PM, went into my kitchen for a snack and realized that almost all of my food was gone. I'm not even exaggerating, I swear, 90% of my pantry was just gone. I asked my sister and she told me that she was shocked I ate anything with preservatives and unnatural and that I was poisoning my body. She took it upon herself to throw away everything she deemed unhealthy. Guys, I'm talking about so much food, both packaged and unpackaged. Even things like spices that weren't fresh were tossed. It was like someone had robbed my kitchen. I demand that she pay to replace everything, but she dug her heels in and said that she was doing me a favor and the way I ate was disgusting. Her literal words. I know I'm biased, but my diet isn't even crazy. It's pretty much standard food you'd find in any grocery store. I was so upset I made her pack up and leave, and she ended up having to take a cab about 30 minutes away to stay with my parents. My mum is absolutely devastated that we are fighting and insists that I apologize in order to keep the peace, because she really hopes my sister will take the job and move back. I told my mum that if she wanted to lose not one but both daughters, then she'd keep pushing me to apologize for something I feel I have a right to be upset about. My dad says that she's been crying every night though, and I love my mum so much I feel like a huge arsehole for being stubborn about the situation. Edit. To answer a few questions, I was asked and DM'd. Yes, I did invite my sister out to drink with me. She declined, saying that she didn't like going to dive bars and wanted to stay sober because it was a work trip. I respected that decision, but I had already planned to go out with my girlfriends. It was a birthday. I did the math and she threw away close to $1,000 worth of food. I listed some items in a comment below, but it included dry pasta, ground beef, pre-cut veggies in a container, juice, canned soups, rice, chicken broth, leftovers, and even bread because it was white. This isn't even close to the start of my list. I had a couple of questions straight away on this one. Why wasn't she staying at the parents to begin with? Maybe sister was just first choice. And then second, why is the mum trying to get you to apologize to keep the peace? Why isn't she turning to sister, the one that's in the wrong, the one that's doing some weird ass behavior that I've never heard anyone ever do in my life, going to someone else's fridge and pantry and chuck away all their bloody food? That's not normal behavior. And the mum wants the other sister to apologize for it, just to keep the peace. So it got me questioning about that whole favourites route, but there doesn't seem to be any other mentions of it, so I may be going down the wrong road there. And I can honestly say, if I was in your situation, there's no way I would apologise for this at all. Because again, what the hell are you apologising for? For someone else chucking away $1,000 worth of food? Hell no. But let's check out the comments to see what they say. So we start off with Piper6728, who says, not the arsehole. Your sister was a self-righteous arsehole and was lucky she only got kicked out. I would have been tempted to call the cops on that shit. Danny Big D says, not the arsehole. She can apologize to you after she pays you back for everything she threw out. Meno replies to that one saying, I paid $3.83 for an avocado yesterday. I can't even imagine how much it would cost to replace all that food. I would have called 5-0. King's Ransom 79 says, not the arsehole. This is a hill I would die on. I can't imagine having to suddenly pay to replace all my food, spices included. Never mind the wastefulness of tossing perfectly good food that could have been donated to a charity pantry. Your parents' anger is misplaced. God, whenever anyone mentions spices, it always reminds me of that story of the boyfriend that mixed all the spices into one pot and was like, yeah, they're all the same, right? Gee whiz. Zinfidel55 says, not the arsehole, appeasement is not the answer. Has she thrown away your parents' food also? Or was this just a special treat for you alone? And OP replied saying, no, I asked my dad and she hasn't even mentioned anything about their diet, and they honestly eat 100% worse than me. I seriously don't know why my sister felt compelled to do that to me, and it's left me baffled, outraged, and kind of hurt. Not that it would make it okay, but I'm also a healthy young adult, so it's not like an intervention was needed. And one more from Ziggurat66 who says, not the arsehole, and I have the perfect solution. Go to your parents' house and pretend to sincerely apologize to your sister. Tell her she was right and that she was only doing you a favor. After your apology is accepted, head straight to your parents' fridge and pantry, and with everyone watching, start throwing away anything even remotely processed. After your parents react in shock to your behavior, look genuinely stunned and be like, I don't understand. I thought I was doing you guys a favor. I wonder how they will feel then. Edit. Also, so sorry about your situation. That sounds really rough on everyone involved, aside from your sister, of course. What an absolute wild situation. Imagine one of your siblings coming over to your house after you let them stay and chucking away all your food. Just imagine your siblings stood there at your fridge, bin there, just loading it all into the bin. How would you feel? How would you react to that? Bloody cheeky so-and-so. Get out! Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll move on to another story. And our next story comes from Through the Away 9707, who says, am I the arsehole for punishing my son for throwing away my husband's Bible? My husband 37 and my son 16 fight a lot. a lot, and I tried to intervene, but my husband asked me to stay out of it while he works it out with my son. My husband came up with a bunch of nicknames to call my son. It all started when they fight, and in each fight or argument my husband comes up with a new nickname to call my son till they fight again, or till my son apologizes. Nicknames like dipstick, stone cold embarrassment, ass clown, imbecile, dweeb, etc. Since their latest fight, my husband has been calling my son ass clown. My son spoke up about how annoying it was and threatened my husband that if he don't stop, he'll throw away something of his. Days ago, my son had friends over while I was out. Clearly, my husband called him ass clown in front of them, which caused a huge fight between them. My husband later called me, panicking, saying that my son took his Bible after their fight and refused to give it back. I went home and asked my son what happened, and he told me my husband embarrassed him by calling him this nickname in front of his friends. I told him I'd talk to my husband later, but asked him to give back the Bible. He said he no longer had it because he threw it out. I was in shock. I told him this was offensive to his stepdad and his religion, and he should never have resorted to this type of retaliation. He said he already warned my husband and that he could easily go get replacement from the church. I got mad because this was a line he shouldn't have crossed. Throwing out stuff is never okay. I punished him and took his allowance for the rest of the month. My son argued about how unfair this was and that my husband got away, though he started it. I refused to argue because he was just lashing out and not ready to listen. I exited the room and then spoke to my husband about it. My husband promised this will all stop if my son gets properly punished for what he did, and I let him know he got his punishment. But my son wasn't having it. He called his grandmother, my ex-mother-in-law, and she tried to come to my home and yell at me, but I refused to let her in. She texted I was being unfair and just wrong for punishing my son. I replied that he did something worth punishing, and no matter who started what, throwing away stuff isn't okay. She kept calling, but that was it for me. Edits. I just want to point out that 1. I never agreed to my husband's way. I was trying to work out his issues out with my son, but I got convinced that they both needed time and space to be able to get these issues resolved without me intervening. 2. The punishment was solely because he threw the book out. I still am not okay with this whole nickname calling, despite my husband saying that is some form of teasing. I'm 100% on my son's side in this. 3. I did try to find solutions to these problems that kept occurring, and even arrange for family that, but neither one of them agreed to go. My husband offered to take my son to church, but my son refused. 4. Being the breadwinner and working long hours, I'm always tired and struggling to keep everyone satisfied and happy. There's too much pressure to be keeping an eye on every little thing in the house, and no one is willing to sit down for a heart-to-heart conversation. And we're going to start straight away with Rose Gold Luna, who says you're the arsehole, you're the arsehole, you're the arsehole, and you're the arsehole. Why would you take your husband's side over your son's in the first place? Secondly, your husband sounds like a toxic and abusive adult. Lastly, you're turning a blind eye to abuse. You're allowing for trauma to take place in your son's life. I'm so glad his grandmother is standing up for him. Sadly, sounds like she's the only one in his corner. Unit Healthy says, in quotes, nicknames like dipstick, stone cold embarrassment, arse clown, imbecile, dweeb, etc. and then goes on to say, nicknames are like buddy, pal and sport. Those are insults. You need to learn the difference. You're the arsehole and so is your awful husband. Tell him to go read Matthew 5:20-22. Otherwise, Windows says you're the arsehole. At what point do you take issue with your husband being abusive to your son? That really needs to be your priority here. Your husband clearly places no value on his Bible or his religion, given his behavior. Do better. Spooky Rabbit says you're the arsehole so much. Your husband is abusive to your son and you do nothing about that. Those are not nicknames for fuck's sake, it's verbal abuse. Your husband is insulting your child on a daily basis and you just ignore that. What kind of mother are you? Throwing away other people's shit is not okay, but your son is a minor who doesn't get the help and support he needs from the adults in his life, not even his mother. So no wonder he is acting out. What else is he supposed to do? Spud Rosa says, yes, the classic move of turning a blind eye to your husband's abuse while punishing your child for their reaction to the abuse. Straight out of You're the Arsehole for Dummies. And this was just a unanimous You're the Arsehole post, for obvious reasons. But now I turn this one to you guys. What would you do in this situation? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, a huge thank you for spending your time with me today. always does mean the world to me, absolutely 100%, and I can never thank you enough. If you do love more Reddit stories, don't forget there's a couple of playlists on the very end screen that will scroll through the videos for you one by one, so you can do whatever you're doing in the background with these playing there, and it's super helpful as well. Thank you so much for your love, time, and support, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay, I know that today